standing. One enemy remaining.
Oh my god, bro.
Darn crap,
It's
bro.
too good for the game.
Hey guys, I hope you're having an amazing day, and in this video I'm going to be doing what I did in my last video, which is a review of some of my different clips throughout competitive games. And there's a little twist with this video, is that I'm picking all of what I consider to be my best clips from episode 6 competitive so far. And so I gave you a little bit of a taste as an intro to this video. Hopefully you enjoyed that clip, and that's what we have seen before us here. So I'm this Reyna. I think this is a really cool thing to emphasize because retaking on Icebox B site can often be really hard for defenders. And so here I'm really going to be explaining, giving you some tips that will really help you kind of do that. So basically, I'm the Reyna here. I needed to reload at the start. And so straight away, I know, basically just because the spike can be planted like right in this sort of area here, that's why this is often so hard to retake. Like for example, if they couldn't plant here and they had to plant like back here, it would be much easier for defenders to retake, but that's not the case. And the default plant is like often always right in this little area. And so because of this, it means that enemy attackers can just run back and go hide basically, right? They can just play super passive. You often see like Viper players come here, play lineups, and it's just really quite frustrating often for defenders that need to retake. So how do we approach this? So basically, especially if you're down numbers, like you saw in that clip, I was down teammates. The enemy had more people alive. So I knew as a random player, as a duelist, but not even just as a duelist, like as anyone, you need to be playing more aggressive. So I knew that I needed to straight away come up here and look for some kind of a peek here, right? So you got a vision cone. You see, I'm just checking here. As soon as you run out, I think there's a wall, so I had a nice little gap to look over here. I got the kill, and then I got the dismiss to ensure my safety. Kind of waiting for, I think I had one other teammate. And then, so she's going to die. And so then I run out here. I think the spike's actually like right here. So let's actually put that down as well. That'd be kind of cool, huh? Put the spike right here. And then run out, I tap it. And then I come over here. And I know that there's a good chance someone's going to be playing on top because that's pretty common in my rank anyway. Maybe not in your rank, but I feel like people play up here pretty often, even in lower ranks. So keep that in mind. It's something you can pre-aim. And then also we know that there is a Sova. Oopsie, sorry about that. We know that there is a Sova. Sova is playing here. And I think it was a Raze playing here. So obviously, you can't know exactly where all these people are, but after we tap the spike, we are able to kill the Sage because I have good pre-aim. I dismiss straight away, and I do something here that's rather remarkable that I think, I think like it's just a moment of genius for me it's hard to like think in the moment what I did, but what I did is I threw a flash, and the flash I threw right here to make them think that I'm still, keeping my attention in this sort of area, right? Like to make them think that I'm going to be coming up here somewhere. But in reality, my whole plan all along was to throw this flash and to run to the other side because I know that this flash right here would draw their attention very heavily. So because it draws their attention, they're not going to be looking to this side. So I walked up very seamlessly, very quickly, and I just shoot them both in the side of the head. I think if I had waited like another 1 or 2 seconds, the Sova would have begun to look over toward me. But I was so quick after throwing this flash to come up here that they had no clue what was coming, and they both just got deleted. So, this is obviously a pretty specific scenario of this, but really, what are the main takeaways here? So the main takeaways are, come up. You can retake from here or from Snowman, depending on how you rotate, or from top site. Top site's one of my favorite places to retake from. But the key takeaway is, especially as a Reyna, especially as a duelist, be willing to take an aggressive fight relatively soon after they plant, but make sure you also have a teammate to trade you if you need. Like if it's a 2v4, play with your teammate. If it's even if it's a 3v4 or a 5v5, make sure that you're playing around with one teammate, but also make sure you're peeking relatively early. If you're a duelist and you're sitting back here and you're waiting for something to happen whenever you need to retake, I can guarantee you your teammates are not always going to do that. It's going to sometimes rely on you to actually be able to get these kills, kind of like I did here. And make sure you use your abilities, use your dash, use your dismiss, use your smokes, use whatever you have in order to help you secure this round. So I'll see you guys in the next clip.
Spike planted.
Careful ramp still.
Yeah, ramp.
Last player standing.
I've strategically paused the clip there because I want you to think, what would you do after you kill this Reyna and then dismiss back to elbow? Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but during that clip, we heard a KO flash and we also heard a raise nade. Did you guys catch that? And if you did not, I want you to go back in the video and try to listen where you hear those at and how does that determine or affect what you do next. So let's talk about what I did initially here. So I was running out, the spike was planted, my team's all dead, and it's now a 1v3 once I come out here. I come out, I have good crosshair placement, I'm clearing to the left here, and then I come up and I know that there's a KO here because I heard him flash. I kind of swing this because there's nobody elbow, and then because I'm just looking for a dismiss because I just ulted as Reyna, and whenever you're ulted as Reyna, you just basically have extra confidence. That's the ideal way to play in Reyna ult. Otherwise, Reyna ult's not anything crazy, but you know it's kind of a nice confidence booster. So here, I see both of them, and you have to choose one. You can't panic. You need to choose one to kill, and so I go for the Reyna for no specific reason. And I kill her, I dismiss, and I have a nice dismiss right back to here to safety. Now this is where things are kind of interesting, and this is where you need to know that KO's here because you heard him flash, but you also saw him before you killed the Reyna, and you heard the raise nade, right? So we heard her nade. I believe if you go back, we heard her nade somewhere in this general area. We heard her nade somewhere here, and that's because she thinks that I might be heaven, so she's just pre-nading it. Excuse me. And so that means that she's going to be in one of two places, right? That means that she can either be wrapping heaven to get a nice angle onto the spike, which probably would have been better, to be honest. Or she could have gone, she could come back here and just peek this. Now you're going to see what happens. But she could do one of these two things here, and she could peek one of these two ways. And you're going to see what she does, but one's better than the other, and that would be heaven. Heaven is better because you can kind of hide and not peek, especially if the spike is planted for her. I actually don't remember if it is planted for her, but even if it's not, you might still consider this if your KO can live behind here. The problem with them is what they did is they just peeked. They got you know, they just wanted to ego peek me. So the raise just ended up peeking me here, and then the KO, you'll see what happens to him.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, no way you did that to him. No way.
Oh, wow. Just jump and kill you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it and come mid side B.
Team main, but he's not out.
Alright guys, so in this clip, it's also split, but we have something very interesting that's going to happen. And this is something that I want to train you guys in order to optimally react to. And so specifically what I'm talking about is a sage wall. So I paused specifically right whenever the sage walled because I want you to think, what would you do in this situation? I think almost the vast majority of lower rank players and even people in my rank, their reaction to a sage walling right here is going to be to just run away, right? So if a sage walls right here, anyway like this, if they're me, they're just gonna run away. Now you could probably guess what I'm going to say that you should do, but there's actually a couple things you can do, and you're gonna see how this plays out. There's actually a very unique circumstance here. I think you guys could hear also the raise nade, and the raise nade's right here on top of the wall as the wall is coming up. And so this, you might be thinking now what's gonna happen, but let's forget the nade for just 1 second, and let's just assume that only the sage walls, because this is very common. This is gonna happen all the time whenever people push mid on split, because mid control is very valuable, very essential on split attack, and it's often very hard to take. So the sage wall can help them. So what would I do here? What I would do, if I heard this and there's no nade, I would instantly start shooting one segment of the wall, probably the one that's in the most middle. So I would break this segment of the wall, and then typically what I'm going to do is just sit here or run away after I break the wall. So that's right, I'm going to break one segment, and then I'm just going to kind of chill here, see if someone's going to come in and wait and try to like lurk through. Or I'm just going to run away, just because I want them to feel like there's pressure being applied to them. as soon as they wall. Like, as soon as they wall, I want to break the segment because, one, whenever Sage walls straight away, it has less HP for, like, a few seconds. So it gives you time to actually break it very quickly. But also, as soon as they wall, they're going to be, like, right here. So that's going to make them feel very kind of, you know, nervous. Or it should make them feel like they're about to get flanked. So now we'll go ahead and talk about what happens this scenario, right? So for some reason, the Raze nades... And then for some reason, the Sage walls right on top of the nade. And so I start shooting the wall, it breaks, but the nade does most of the damage to the wall. And they just kind of run up here, and you guys will see what happens next. Basically, I run through the wall, and this maneuver to run through the wall here takes a lot of balls, to be honest. It takes confidence, but again, you're Reyna, so what do you... I mean, you're not really risking a whole lot. All you need is to get one kill, and then you're pretty safe. Now, I do make a little bit of a mistake, and I kill some, but what I should have done is dismiss instead of trying to go for more. So I should have dismissed and came back into vents. And you guys are going to see exactly what I mean here in a second.
I think they're going B. Yeah, they're going B for sure.
Oh my god.
No, they're both one there. We have Spike.
Hey, mate.
He's in vents.
Spike planted. Cutting their vision. Insecto. Stealing sight. Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Alright guys, so we have another tactically timed pause by me, and so that's just to really emphasize what would you do in this scenario, and I think a lot of different people would again do a lot of different things in this scenario. So the first thing here you see is the smoke fades, I shoot the door very quickly, and then I come over here because I need to reload, and you don't want to reload right after you break the door because someone could be waiting, for example, like right here, and they could peek you right as you are reloading, but I come back here, reload, and what you see me do is throw a flash because I just want to, again, get information. Flashes can be very valuable for getting information. And in this case, it actually gets me a free kill because Sova directly shoots this flash and it gives me an idea of his general location. It tells me that his location is somewhere here, right? Because that's where I hear his gunshots at. And so that's a very simple way for you to get a kill because obviously if you're flashing, the Sova doesn't know if you're about to run out and peek him or not, so he needs to shoot the flash. He doesn't know, he's not going to be like, oh yeah, the rain is flashing for info, so I'm just not going to shoot the flash. Like, he's not going to do that, he's going to shoot it. So after he shoots it, that tells you where he is. So I come up here, and then I, of course, am going to be, I actually jiggle peek, which is, again, another very good strat. I have videos on that if you are not sure what jiggle peeking is. It's basically where, actually, we can maybe use this vision cone to kind of show what vision peeking looks like, or I mean jiggle peeking looks like. So basically, you kind of come up and you're just like slowly inching more towards. So you see slivers. It doesn't really actually work, but basically I slowly come up like this until I finally see him, and then I kill him, right? And so he dies here, and that's a free kill for me. So we can go and remove Sova, and then again, I throw another flash to try to get more info to see if someone is going to challenge me again. But this time, what you notice happens is nobody shoots the flash, right? So what does this tell us? It tells us that anyone that can see this flash is, or any location that could be looking at this flash, it means there's probably not an enemy there unless they're being crazy. Like, for example, someone's probably not right here because they would be, well, they could be behind the gym and just not looking. But they're probably not right here because that means that they would have just been blinded and not shot it. So they might also, that also means they're probably not right here because they also would have been blinded. It means they're also probably not really out in the open here at all. So that gives me a pretty good indication that they're in one of two places. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, they're either going to be in main somewhere here or somewhere like hell or back gen. So in somewhere like this location. Hell, heaven, or back gen, right? Because this flash tells you a lot. It tells you a lot more than you might think. So that's how random players really kind of get an idea of where enemies are positioned. So in this case, I actually swing and then I see both of them. So it's no longer a question of like, where are they? It's just a question of, you know, what do I do? So what happens is I come out, I see both of them. I go for the Reyna. I actually heal because the Jett is peeking with the Reyna, but then the Jett comes back as I kill the Reyna. So I just decide to start healing. and this is where the video pauses. So now you guys, the spike is right here. So the spike's right here, and so this is a pretty good spot for me, not really a great spot for the Jett, and I don't think that she realizes it, and I'm not sure if you guys realize it. And so this is where I think a lot of low rank players would just try to like tap the spike or try to keep fighting the Jett, and this is a mistake. I think, well, I know that the ideal thing you should do here is at least try to come up here if you can and stick the spike to half. Now obviously this whole time I'm just staring the Jett down, like I'm not gonna take my crosshair off of where her head would be. But as soon as I get here, I'm going to crouch behind this box and just stick the spike. And now, obviously, if she like dashes onto me or something, that's going to make me get off the spike. But if she doesn't have dash and she's just like being slow, I can just stick the spike all the way, or at the very least, I can get it to half. And I think, again, this is something that a lot of lower rank players would not do. I think a lot of lower rank players would tap the spike, and I think that's what the Jett expected me to do. However, I'm a little bit more aware, I think, that I'm able to stick this than her. So instead of tapping it and trying to fight it unnecessarily, I just stick it. And you guys will see how that works. And you guys should implement this into your games as well. Try to stick spikes more, even if it's just a half, or even if it's just, you know, the fake threat of the spike. People like this will just be like, oh yeah, he's tapping it, and it's gonna get you free rounds. Like, it really does work more than you might think. So enjoy the rest of this clip. So thanks for watching the video. I am going to be doing some different video types. Enjoy Felix's tail there. I'm going to be doing different agents like Raze and Jett. I'm also going to be doing the new map Lotus, so stay tuned for that. Like the video, please, and enjoy your day. Peace.